Hello and welcome to Flosstube number 5. I'm Moneik Stevens and I am a quilter from the Black Hills of South Dakota, and today I'm going to share with you a few of the quilts that I finished in the month of March. I like to think of myself as a prolific quilter, and I tend to do quite a few quilts throughout the month. So hopefully you'll get to see just a few of the things that I've been working on this month. One of my main focuses as kind of my leader and ender when I don't have much else to work on is the block B from the Rhododendron Trail Mystery quilt from Bonnie Hunter. So a Quiltville mystery for 2021 to 2022. These are the B blocks, and these are the last 5 of the number that I needed to have for that quilt. So I've got all of my B blocks done, and then I started working on the side blocks. So there's an A block and a B block for the side blocks, and I have a couple of each of those A and B side blocks done. I have kitted up most of the other ones, and so as I continue to work on these, maybe 1 or 2 every evening, I try to get a couple done each night. Hopefully by the end of April I will have all of my A and B side blocks done and ready to assemble the quilt. There was one week this month that I decided, hey, I'm just going to make bags this month. And so I put on my purple thread and I started making bags. The first bag that I made was called the Emelina bag. An Emeline bag is a boxed wire bag. And so the wire, as you can see, holds its shape and then it folds up. I put on this really pretty rainbow zipper, also from Emeline Bags, and you can see the little rainbow zipper pull that I used as well. This is the homemade fabric from Tulip Pink, one of my absolute favorite lines. It's kind of coming to the end of it, but as you can see, I've used a whole lot of it. And then on the inside, on each side, there's this pocket. So I used kind of that turquoisey green fabric to make the pockets. So this one is a free pattern from the Emeline Bag website, and there's a small and a large size. This one is the small size, and again, just a cute little bag that I made during the month of March. Also, I made this wired tote. So this is the small wired tote. I don't remember who the pattern is by, but it's the wired tote bag. So you can see it has very similar to the utility totes from 31 bags. There's a large bag, which I have already made. This is just the small one. And I kind of remember now why I didn't enjoy making the bag. So I got it made. It's not great. It's not perfect, but it's made. I did use some fabric on the side just to accent the bag so that my machines were not upside down. So you can see it's just a small little bag. I would say it's about 6 by 14. So size-wise, it's a pretty small, it's about 6 inches tall tote bag. And again, I used the homemade fabric line from Tulip Pink. It's got some large handles on it. It does have some inside pockets, so you can kind of see where those inside pockets are, and also of that homemade fabric. And they're just on the one side of the bag. So this will be probably sitting next to my sewing machine, kind of holding all of those tools and notions so that they don't disappear on me. So again, using that purple thread, I got those 2 bags made. That one took me about 4 nights. And when I say 4 nights, I usually sew from about 9 o'clock to 10:30 every night. And so it took me about 4 nights of doing that to get it sewn together. I always have everything cut out prior to sewing. So if I say, hey, I made this in one night, well, really, I spent time cutting it out at work during my lunch breaks, and that's why I have it cut out, and all I did is the sewing part of it. Another bag that I made was called the Love Tote, and this is a bag that I used out of canvas, and I used webbing for handles. Reminds me of my SDSU favorite colors, yellow and blue. And this one is called Love Script. It's a fabric that's a canvas. It's one of my favorite fabrics that RSD uses in her design bags. And I was able to get a couple yards of it, so I made this simple tote. This is one that I taught at the end of March to our 4-H club. So I was able to make a sample, and the kids were then able to make this tote bag up in their own chosen fabrics. So it takes 1 yard of fabric and a yard and a half of strapping, and it's just a really what I would call nice grocery tote, just about a library size bag, grocery tote. You know, it's pretty sturdy. You can use cotton fabric, that's what the pattern uses, and you can cut off the handles from the fabric that you buy a yard of. But I really like these webbing handles, because when you're teaching kids to sew, that is really important, is to make it as easy as possible. So each of the kids made a tote bag. There were 15 kids. We had 4 sewing machines, and we had 3 adults. And so we were able to get all but 2 of the bags made, and the 2 that didn't get made, guess what? They were mom's kids. So my kids will make theirs. They have the material and everything. We just simply ran out of time, and because they have access to a sewing machine at home, I didn't feel like they were going to get the shaft. They will get their bags made, and they will have a 4-H project as well. So if you're looking for a project that is quick and easy, I can make one of these in a half an hour if I have it cut out. But it's a really simple tote bag, and is a great bag to make with children. My kids are 9 and 11. I had kids as young as 5 make it, and I had kids as old as 14 make it. But because of that, I would highly recommend that pattern, and it is by Lazy Girl Designs. It's called Love Tote. So it's a free pattern on her website. Highly recommend that. And then I have a friend, Jen Hamilton, who is going through cancer treatments, and they're doing a benefit for her next weekend on the 16th here in Rapid City. And I was asked by a friend of hers if I would quilt and bind some of her quilts for that auction. So this is one that I quilted up and last weekend at my dad's, and I hope you can see most of it. It has little cute bears on it. I believe this is the oh, now I forgot the name of it, but it's one of the Villa Rosa patterns. I believe it's Cabin Fever. So it takes a real big center. It's kind of like a big log cabin, and it's a really fast and easy quilt. I quilted it with some glide thread, so kind of a light gray on the white, blue, and red and turquoise fabric. It has a pretty orange puffy minky on the back, so you can feel those little indents coming out of it. So I have this one done for her. I also have another one that she asked me to quilt, and this is one of my favorite fabric lines. It has the little puppies on it. So there's puppies and there's kittens, and you can see that I had some of the little bone fabric left over from a bag that Michaela made, and so I was able to get this quilt quilted last weekend, and then also bound for her this week. And so it also has this yellow minky on the back. One of the things that my friend Emily, her husband Trapper, quilted a couple quilts for me while I was going through cancer treatments, and so I really wanted to give back and be able to help somebody else going through cancer treatments. So Jen is one of my quilting friends. We used to go to the sewing center for Club Sew, and that's how I got to know her. And I really enjoyed being able to help her with quilting. I also have a Mickey Mouse one that is literally on the machine. So I was binding the first one last night, and then I bound the Mickey one, and I was like, I am just too tired. So I absolutely just said, nope, stop. I am going to wait until tomorrow night to finish it. So that one's on my machine. I'll have those finished, and then they'll be at the auction at the Canyon Lake Senior Center next Saturday afternoon. So that's something that I got out to my dad's last Saturday and quilted on the frame. I did those two quilts, the Mickey quilt, and then I did some fabric that I'm going to make into bags, and I also quilted a trip around the world quilt. That one's not done yet, so hopefully you'll see that at the end of this April month. But those are the quilts that I've been working on, just getting them quilted and bound and everything. I also had a week in March where all I did was bind quilts. So I took the quilts that I had, and this one is really big. You're not going to be able to see all of it, but it is called Jelly Roll Bar or Jelly Bar. Again, it's a free pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop, and this one uses all of the red, white, and blue prints that I was able to buy, and it's just a simple jelly roll friendly quilt pattern. It's a free pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop, and again, I just used a jelly roll and then some red, white, and blue fat quarters to be able to get those blocks made. It has a really pretty navy on the back, and it's a minky as well. And then I quilted it with the red, white, and blue thread. It's a King Tut thread with stars. So loops and stars, that just seemed to be really appropriate for this quilt. So this one is going to go to a family member, but because this person might eventually watch this video, I'm not going to tell you who it's for. That will come up later on my blog. My blog is Moneik at blogspot.com, and I used to blog quite a bit, and that's how I met a lot of my quilting friends from around the country. And now I do it more sporadically. So I try to do once a week update about my quilting, what I'm working on, kind of the works in progress, finished quilts that I got done during that week. This week was really busy, and so I didn't get as much posted as I normally do. But again, moneik.blogspot.com. So my name is spelled a little bit different, so I just always want to put that out there. If you follow me on Instagram, it's Quilt Moneik. I have a Moneik Quilts, but it seemed to have gotten hacked, so I had to revert to Quilt Moneik is my Instagram handle. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Moneik Quilts Facebook group. So those are the kind of things that I'm doing. As you can see behind me, this is my Simply Swoon 16. So I did the Swoon 16 pattern from Thimble Blossom. It's all in the Glamping Gypsy fabric line. So this is 16 of the 16-inch swoon blocks. Again, that favorite Glamping Gypsies with the campers on it is a Pearl Louise Cruche fabric line that I absolutely love. This is probably about 16 quilts that I've made with this fabric line, and as you can see, it worked up really nicely in the minky. So this one has red minky on the back, and it works perfectly as a full bed quilt. It'll go in our camper this summer. So this is just one of the quilts that I really enjoy making, the swoon block. And this one I just made a block at a time. Just as I had time, I would just make a block here, there. And then this November, when we had our quilt retreat at my friend Tammy's house, I sewed this quilt up, and it just went together perfectly. So when I do quilting, especially at quilt retreats, I try to have all the blocks done. So I have all the blocks done, and then I put them together into tops at the quilt retreat, sashing, whatever it needs, just sewing the blocks together. And then I have quilt tops to quilt when I get to my dad's to get them quilted. So this is one that I did back in November, and I just finished it up. It has red minky on the back. So my mother-in-law really loves red. I don't know if it'll go to her or not, but there was a wide back red minky, so that's what's on the back of this one. And then I have this ABC quilt, and you'll see that the ABCs are reversed. I think I've showed you ABC 1 and ABC 2. This is ABC 3. I made 3 identical quilts with this fabric line, and it's a panel, and then I just added the fabric to the sides for a border. It's on the back as well, and when I made the backing, I just did like 4 backs all together, and I quilted all 3 quilts at the same time, and then I was able to bind them with the same fabric. So again, this is an older line. I bought all of it on clearance, and I just like to have some quilts ready to give away when the mood strikes me. So quilt number 1 went to Mark Flint. He was one of our students in our counseling program, and he had a new baby. And so I gave that to him. This one, I don't know who will get it. Someone eventually will have a new baby, and I will feel the need to give them a quilt. So then the other quilt that I made and got bound was this Hey June quilt. So June was the quilt pattern for a quilt-along last June by GE Designs. And so you can see there's alternate blocks. The blocks are light and dark blocks alternating. Again, this is the Glamping Gypsy line, and it has a wide back red on it. So this one isn't minky. Just love this pattern, and it went together pretty quickly. Again, I had all of the blocks made when I went to my quilt retreat in November, and then I was able to get it sewn into a top while I was there. And then this one is going to go to probably one of the kids' teachers. I haven't decided which one, but that's kind of what I'm aiming for, is to give this to one of either one of the kids' teachers. I'm not exactly sure, but I wanted to get it done. So it's done now. That one is a full one. It's 75 by 93, so real good size. And then the other bag that I made was the Easy Does It bag. This one I already have packed full, but you'll see that it has the pink zipper, and then the accent fabric here for the handles is what the binding is on the inside. So this is the Curiouser and Curiouser line of fabric from Tula Pink. I really love this one. I just quilted a fat quarter of it to a backing of this same hearts and spades card material, and in the white version, and I quilted it to that, and then I cut out this bag. So if you're looking for a really simple, easy bag, the Easy Does It bag is a bag from by Annie Patterns. It's a free pattern on her website, and I will be teaching this at the Sewing Center coming up this summer. So a real fun, easy bag. Get you introduced to the zipper, quilting, and then sewing the bag together and putting binding on the inside. So again, this is one that is called Easy Does It, and it's a pattern that I like to make. I've made probably 3 or 4 in the past several months, even past several years. So I will be teaching that one at the Sewing Center. Other quilts that are coming up, I'm going to turn the camera and so you can see the swoon block in the corner of my office here is one that I will be teaching at the Sewing Center this summer as a beginning quilting class. And then I'll also be teaching a beginning quilting class, a beginning piecing class, and then the sew together bag. And I don't have an example of that one right now, but those are the bag and quilts that I'll be teaching this summer at the Sewing Center here in Rapid City, South Dakota. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video and let me showcase some of the quilting that I've done. Have I done other things this month? Absolutely. I've been hand stitching on my English paper pieced hexagon quilt. I have that one to about a wall hanging size right now, but it's an in progress quilt that I have that's taken me several months to get all of the quilting done on it, all of the piecing with the English paper piecing. I've cut out several quilts, so I have a nightingale quilt that's in progress. I also have a yellow and blue Hey June quilt, again using that same pattern. And then I have a Phoenix quilt in yellow and blue, and I'm also working on that one as well. And so those will come in the next few months as I start to get them into blocks and then into quilts. You'll continue to see some of those quilts. Working on a rag quilt for my cousin's son for graduation. I'm working on a bunch of teacher quilts that I can't really show you until the teachers receive them, because they're pretty obvious once I do show them which teacher they will go to. So those are the quilts that are coming up for me. I have a couple commission pieces that I'm working on. Again, just kind of winging it, waiting for when I receive them to when I finish them. But this week, again, doing a lot of that binding, trying to get some of those quilts quilted up, and making sure that I'm successful with what I'm working on. So I just wanted to share some of those finishes from the month of March, beginning of April with you, and I hope you'll join me again on my YouTube channel. Again, so subscribe, give me a like. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the question comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. A special thank you to everyone who has watched my videos and shared my Quilttube with others. I really appreciate that. I do this more as a reminder to myself of all the things that I've worked on, and really to showcase that, you know, you just have to do it. You just have to sew. You just have to quilt. I quilt at night, 9 to 10:30 p.m. after the kids and the rest of the family have gone to bed. So it's really possible to get a lot done. You just have to make time for it, and you just have to enjoy doing it. And that's really, for me, it relaxes me. It is de-stressing, and it keeps me calm. For those of you who are following my cancer journey, I am taking chemo again, just as kind of a maintenance drug. And so I really am hoping that the next 2 years go very quickly. The last 2 years, 2.5 years, have gone very well. And I feel very fortunate to be able to give back to others who are in that cancer journey. But this for me is really my way of relaxing when I'm going through treatment, and making sure that I don't let myself get stressed out. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who watched. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. And thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. Have a great day.